Lando. Say hello to Brazil. Hey, Lando. Lando, please. How many balls have you got?
Are you guys having a fantastic time?
Lando. The shirt, please, Lando. The shirt, please. The shirt, please, Lando.
So far, remembering it's only Saturday.
Lando.
I think just see more the drivers. Yeah, it's really
Can you
fun.
do the shirt, please,
If I
Lando?
was to ask you this question, I think it's probably
hello
a
to
silly
Brazil.
one.
Lando.
Who are you supporting today?
Thank you.
I really want to get at the city.
All right.
Van Forecourt, both of your Williams drivers are in the building. Please welcome Alex Albon.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nico Hulkenberg!
He's looking there, didn't he? Coming this way to me. Let's go. Take it.
Hey, Nico.
Put it up.
Can you do the shirt, Nico? Thank you, mate.
Nico. Take mine, yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Ben.
Hi, sir. Can I just get a quick picture? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Charles, lift there!
Maleta, la maleta, la maleta.
Can you sign my shirt, please?
La maleta, per piacere.
Thank you!
Grazie, grazie.
Franco. Franco. Ale. Ale.
Alex, sign for Alex. Sign for Alex. Sign for Alex.
Ale.
Thank you.
Ale, please.
Alex.
Ale. I thought that I was like, yeah.
Gabriel.
Gabi.
Gabriel, Portoleto.
Gabi.
Ô, Gabriel, filma aqui pro Brasil, ó.
Gabi.
Valeu, velho. Obrigado. Boa
Gabi.
sorte, velho.
Gabi, Gabi. George. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Ollie. Ollie. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Kimmy. 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 Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, packed. Convey it to you and to the spectators, but you weren't listening. Gee, thanks. Every team, I think, was talking about the blustery conditions yesterday. The flag was flying if I look out of our window here and out here, but whether it's as blustery as yesterday, we'll find out from drivers post-session. So Pierre Gasly then is the 28.5 is Pierre Gasly's opening effort. Well, he did a 28.3 and a 27.1 in the two sessions yesterday, so I know it's only a start up, but he's at least out on track. Esteban Ocon gets ready to get on board the Haas. Franco Colapinto goes quicker and then backs straight out of that, so he's done one kind of...
The balance is okay, but the grip is low, and as a driver you need grip to have confidence to be able to attack, and that's where it comes down to, really, is trusting the car, getting a balance that you're able to then use the car at its full potential, and that's a little bit different driver to driver. All human beings are all a little bit different, we like different things. But yeah, he's happy with the balance, but just lacking grip. So to me, you were saying that they're having a tough season, that kind of sums it up right there. The car doesn't have enough grip.
He won yesterday, and Lewis Hamilton then did a 1:26.892 in the first session. He went better again in FP2, a 1:26.117. Even now taking the occasional double take just to get used to Lewis Hamilton in red. Winner of the... He weren't here yesterday for Bond's admin session. Red sidewall is soft, yellow sidewall medium, the white sidewall are the hards, and so down the circuit, because this straight away looks quick.
Yeah, it's interesting. He did the outlap very slowly. He was cruising around, not putting any temperature energy into the tyres. A little slide there into the left. Not a fan in free practice 2 with a 1:25.8, which was 0.7 of a second quicker than the equivalent session last year. This session last year was actually rain affected, so we don't have anything comparable to compare it to.
Right, he's coming out of the second part of the balance.
It was interesting with it being relatively cool this morning that Lewis still did the outlap very slowly then.
True enough. Now, this is Nico Hülkenberg, who missed the first practice session yesterday, gave the car over to the Estonian driver Paul, who under a virtual safety car process, for example. It's that kind of speed.
Could be, yeah. It could be that that's a requirement to look into something. Obviously, you don't get up testing like we did in the old days in F1. You can't go and do this on a quiet day at Paul Ricard or somewhere. So it might be that there's something they need to look into, and that's why he's doing that, because it doesn't make
the departure for Oscar, but you've got a Ferrari creeping out of the background, so Charles just joined in gradually, therefore the circuit getting busier and busier and busier. Yeah, all of a sudden there's quite a long line coming down the pit lane.
You got the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll out on mediums. He's just started a quick lap, had a bit of a wobble under braking on the way into the right-hander at Village Corner. Had a pretty good day yesterday. Seventh in free practice 2. A good run here last year to 7th place in the Grand Prix. And Hamilton, having had 2 crawling laps, has got going again now. So he goes up to straight and towards the bridge and into Brooklands.
Yeah, last 12.9 in the Grand Prix back in 2020. We've got the Mercedes ready to go. George Russell is on board his car. So yes, more and more drivers now venturing out onto the circuit, and that's going to make the session sort of come alive. You can also tell that people are going for track space, because 1 or 2 crawling out of the pit lane, spinning Isaac Hatcher is just very, very slowly making his way onto the circuit, letting everybody go. Ahead of it, out there, you can see, comes the Williams of Alex Albon. Behind him is George Russell, and again slowly down the pit lane, because you want the car ahead to be so far away, Jamie, that you are going to be impeded.
Yeah, also you like to do your outlap in your own way.
Right.
You'll have like a predetermined plan of how you need to drive the outlap to get the tyre in the window for the push lap.
Okay.
So you don't want that to be compromised by being too close to cars in front.
So you're running with Lando Norris as he comes then now up towards the exit of Chapel Curve onto Hanger Straight, and we'll see how many laps he's going to do in this first run in the session. Down towards Stone Corner, then now goes to see McLaren heading into the braking zone. Now the mark turns in the right-hander, big wave to the Lando stand. So even though there's a plan, there's still time to wave to the fans. So that is the grandstand that's going to be even fuller come tomorrow. At the end of Vale then comes Lando Norris, bright yellow everywhere, never mind the McLaren papaya. So on to a flying lap now goes the McLaren company. Wind first 3 braking. And Oscar Piastri being told about the wind speed behind him.
Yep, accelerating out now. By the time he gets to the Kingan Aintree, which is taken flat out, he'll already be doing 162 miles an hour before he gets onto the Western Straight. Time to beat is Lewis Hamilton's 1:26.5 now, because Lewis went a second quicker on his second push lap, but guess what? The Ferrari is crawling around again. That's what they tend to do, right? 1:25.8 yesterday. Lando Norris's best time in SE2 comes out of left field, right at Woodcote into the corner itself now, up past the old corner. And Cox nowadays, JD turn 9 is a very fast right-hander.
Yeah, that hasn't changed much over the years. Still one of the best corners in my opinion. And the driver on quality laps, that would be amazing.
And Beckett through Chapel Curve on the Hampshire Straight, which disappears very quickly underneath the vehicle bridge down towards Stoke Corner. No time for a wave on this lap. Lando Norris there. Looking slightly at 1:26.5. We've got Charles Leclerc though, Jake Purple sector 1, Purple sector 2. Lando Norris then now down to the end of Vale. Goes into the right of Stoke Corner. He's heading up towards the timing line. And anything in the 25s is good. And that's going to be 1:26 from, 1:27 in fact from Lando Norris. 1:27.006. So second fastest. Charles Leclerc which is good. And goes fastest to 1:26.494 from Charles Leclerc. 1:26.494.
And Max Verstappen, absolute best in the middle sector. He goes through, gets second quickest on his first push lap. 4,995 thousandths per second between them.
Good going, isn't it? So yeah, Max Verstappen 5 thousandths down, and just gone up to Piastri then in the second as the McLaren. So you've got Leclerc, Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Piastri, and Lance Stroll hanging on in there in the top 6. So Lewis Hamilton moan about. We've got Pierre Gasly trying to improve with his personal best in the sectors, and the Alpine heading up towards the line. There's work going on, you can see, at McLaren, and that time waiting for an Alpine to break the beam, which he will do now. And Pierre Gasly 1:27.878.
Gasly had a funny run for 2024 British Grand Prix as well, and he had non-start troubles in Friday and Saturday, so he hates this place at the moment.
You saw David Behrman, Ollie's father, and Thomas's father, racing himself, watching on from the garage, and down now through Thomas Corner goes Ollie Behrman, a bit down in the first sector of this lap. Now in terms of time, he is still hanging on in those fastest. Max Verstappen, though he's second fastest, but
Behrman teammate Ocon, half a second between the two of them, which is a bit of a surprise. That's quite a chunk from 6th to 12th.
Behrman 6 at the time, 12 is where you find Ocon, and he in turn is ahead of Alonso, who's just rejoined the session on. Liam Rawson only 18th, Padjar only 15th. The Racing Bulls not looking all that racy today, are they?
Not at the moment. What have we seen, however? What tyres have they been on?
They've mostly been on the hards so far. They accounted for about 7 tenths of a second.
That's quite a lot. So maybe the softs come right at the very end of the on, and everybody needs to have a car come the end of this that is ready for qualifying, really, because the margins at this second weekend are so tight. You've got to have a car that will
race before turn 9, but nothing.
The Brooklands now at the end of that first sector. And the sector is down. Not as quick as it was earlier on. Fernando Alonso, incidentally, has just done a personal best middle. Kimi Antonelli is pushing on as well, but George Russell wide there, coming out of that field. The commitment is certainly there, Jamie, on that.
Yeah, he's lacking a little bit of grip. You saw the lock up in sector 1, but hopefully he can build through
the delta, right through Stowe. It's when you see the car through the line of Stowe, and they start left or right, you suddenly realise that the real speed that they've got in a straight line is perhaps less impressive to the eye, but through a quick corner is mighty. And George Russell's going to drop the line up to second, at 1:26.125, so first sector slower, second and third better. George Russell up to second, Kimi Antonelli out through best sector 1, but he's down in sector 2, so where is this going to put the Mercedes? He finds the car through Clark, now gets the tipping point up towards the timing line, and Kimi Antonelli stays fit, about that time, 1:26.422. It looks like Mercedes is starting to come back to the races, doesn't it?
Yeah, I saw yesterday Russell saying in lower temperatures they seem to be more competitive.
Right.
So, yeah, hopefully game on for them in the rear tyres went off. The lap there is oversteering into club.
So Lando Norris goes back out to see what he can do. Still with 20 minutes to go, and Lando Norris then with his slightly reworked livery for a greater Google Crow presence on the side of the car. Bit of a twist there as he went up the right-hander village up towards the loop. Oscar Piastri is ready to go as well. The McLaren's right now 8th.
For the car and then clean it up. And back on focus weekend.
Right, you're riding with Charles Leclerc in replay, coming down through Vale. Weaving, and then the car has a sagging on there's damage to its other brakes.
Yeah, and then he was weaving towards the tyre of the brake, and he brakes hard for club in the rear lock. Yeah, now I think he's annoyed by the presence of that other car.
Jersey's not even looking.
Just go back to Antonelli's time, he's half a second down on his last time, that's 4/10 in the middle sector. That's where we had the twitch on the previous lap, wasn't it, through Beckett? So it looks like he's on a pair of rails through there this weekend, which given the car has been a bit unpredictable this year. He's impressive. He's about to complete sector 2.
And it's a green sector 2, so an absolute best and a personal best. This is a lap that should put him into the mix, that is for sure. Can he get ahead of the McLarens? Can he split the McLarens? Charles Leclerc rejoins the session. The into club corner. We're looking for something in the mid-25s then as he comes up towards the timing line. Max Verstappen goes through and he's second fastest at 1:25.585, 19 thousandths slower than Oscar Piastri, but he's quicker than Lando Norris. That was a mighty lap.
Yeah, looks like we've got a good race on our hands. It's not just McLaren's.
Absolutely. So I think a lot of effort went into that lap by Max. Let's just get Yuki Tsunoda across the line. The driving standards flag for Liam Lawson. Tsunoda up into 5th in the times. Now, of course, this is interesting. Both the Red Bulls on the soft tyres suddenly coming alive.
Yes, indeed. We haven't seen this for a few races, well, not for a long time, if at all. Having said that, margin second between the two of them. That's quite a big humble for other people to improve into, particularly Russell and Hamilton, 67th at the moment behind Tsunoda.
And Alex Albon on the soft tyre is also looking quick because he has done 68 thousandths from Oscar Piastri. This is getting not only competitive but very, very tight in terms of lap time.
It's great actually, you've got 4 cars there, all within just over a 10 from Leclerc down to Norris in Q4.
Hamilton in replay, coming to the end of Vale, rattling the curve sideways, corrects it, and best in the first sector. So the Williams on the soft tyre coming to the end of Vale in the club. Carlos Sainz looking really good here. Had a tough day yesterday, had a spin and was given a reprimand for an unsafe race joy, but Carlos Sainz comes across the line, goes up to 12 fastest, lost a bit of time in that final sector, but Sainz is 12th now.
Back to Hadjar in 9th. All those 5 cars, 126.1. So they are so close together. 8 thousandths of a second between Tsunoda and Behrman to Albon, 7 thousandths of a second, and then Albon to Russell, 6 thousandths of a second, and Russell to Hadjar, 4 thousandths of a second. How close do you want it?
And then after that, you've got Lewis Hamilton, who has done an absolute best in the first sector of the lap that he's off.
Yeah, just going into Beckett's impressive to get the absolute best first sector. He had to weave his way around Liam Lawson into village and just come out of the pits, and then into the loop, although he got well out of the way. He had to get past the Williams of Alex Albon as well, so great effort.
Okay, so an absolute best and a personal best for Lewis Hamilton then. He let out a red flag, session is stopped, and that means that lap's going to have to be aborted. So a red flag, Lewis Hamilton straight away bails for the pit lane. 8 3/4 minutes. It's pre-practice, so the clock carries on ticking, and it's for a bit of debris lying on the road. It's nothing more serious than that as far as we can tell, but there's a bit of debris there on the racetrack. It's roadworks, isn't it? The one lane that is all crammed down to, but eventually there's somebody fairly kind that lets you in.
Would you let him in and think you?
Definitely not. I've sat there for ages. I'm getting that queue, you're not right, now, if you're at the back, it's going to take even longer to go out because, as we said before, even for as long as possible to keep the tyre and the pit lane is still emptying. So if you get delayed in the queue, that tyre temperature starts to go. This is Lando Norris making his way up the climb out of the pit lane over the brown back towards the circuit then. So Lando Norris now is on track once more with the clock having got just under 3 minutes to go.
Just looking how tight it is as well. Tsunoda 5th, Behrman 6th, Albon 7th, Russell 8th, Hadjar at 9th, and there's just 25 thousandths of a second between those 5 drivers.
Yeah, that's what we're saying earlier on. It's so competitive, isn't it, with those times, those tiny margins and the different manufacturing teams that you've got in there. Another timing 3, we have just got it down to a 10, so we've got 0 to the gap here on 1,000. But Charles moment. Is he going to be able to stay there? How long is he going to take in terms of laps, in terms of tires back on? Can we expect him to go quicker in 2 minutes to change before flag?
Yeah, I think it's possible, yeah.
So George Russell is coming to the end of the Vale. He's going to be one of the first to pull the pit, but others have already gone through it. The white flag that is being shown at the marshal's post at Abbey is coming out of the pit lane. So you might be on a quick lap, but there are people going up slower, leaving the pit lane, one of which is coming out of the circuit now. This is that lock-up. Right, George Russell then through traffic. Oh, a big lock-up going into Billy's. That's ruined the lap. He's off the road.
Yeah, and they've got Ferrari and someone to try to run the outside of both the Mercedes and also Yuki Tsunoda in the Red Bull as he tries to get out and get some clear space. But yeah, big moment there for Russell.
Yeah, Tsunoda got caught up. Tsunoda's lap. Right, Jamie, have a look at this one.
Yeah, there's two cars coming out of the pits, and it just locked me inside front there. Maybe due to the queuing up in the pit lane, the slight loss in temperature.
He wants to turn, seemingly did it. He gets past the traffic, brakes, turns in, misses the apex, slides wide, lock up, and struggles back onto the circuit. But as he does so, then he gets into the way of Tsunoda. Gabriel Bortoleto has had a sizable off, and that's a red flag, and that will be the end of the session, won't it, with a minute to go. So Gabriel Bortoleto is off the road. He's damaged the front left corner, as you can see.
Really unfortunate timing because, of course, there's not very long until qualifying.
first race win since June of 2021, and he is 1.6 seconds clear of Montoya. That's all. It's come down a bit. So out of course they can... indeed, this is the part of qualifying where it's about not being slow, isn't it? It's about getting through. You don't necessarily need your ultimate lap, you just need to get into Q2 at this point. So, out on track they come, and it is Nico Hülkenberg, Gabriel Bortoleto out first of all. That, Jamie, is good news. Sauber managed to repair Bortoleto's car in a pretty short window.
Yeah, he's first one on the circuit, so yeah, good job there by the team. Sure he'll be buying the beers later.
Also out goes Lance Stroll, also out goes Pierre Gasly. So yeah, some of the teams deciding that, yeah, they do need a backup just in case this weather does change for the worse. It's still overcast, it has been all day, it's still pretty breezy outside, it has been all day, but the spots of rain in the air are teasing us a little bit. And remember, this first part of qualifying is 18 minutes long, the clock is ticking, and we will lose 5 at the very end of this as they're going to work this outlap, and the round up towards Beckett comes for some in a moment down in the pit lane. Right, so Bortoletto is the first man to watch, and this could be a very important lap. The drizzle is going to manifest itself then with the road and its drying. Bortoletto needs to deliver here, while others are still sitting in the garages. So Bortoletto is on a mission. He comes out of Woodcote, speed building then down to Cops Corner, where you are reaching 255 kilometres an hour. The sparks fly, the car accelerates up towards Beckett now.
Absolutely right, of course. This is where he had his accident earlier on. First time he gets through there, he's not quite sure if there's going to be 100% grip, but that rain has just eased a little bit. What I will say, it's much more blustery, the wind, than it was in pre-practice 3 earlier.
Okay, so Bortoletto then now down towards Stoke Court, into the left, into the right of Cup Corner, heading up towards the timing line. This will offer up the time, if you like, or qualifying. Gabriel Bortoletto does a 127.475. That is the first offering of qualifying, and we'll see what can be done to better that as the session goes on. Nico Hülkenberg is out on track, and more of them now start to leave the pit lane.
Yeah, there's still 7 in the pits. Bellman, Russell, Hadjar, Dawson, Sainz, Ocon and Alonso still in the pits. Neither of the Aston Martin drivers really had the chance to go for a quick lap in the FP3, so we didn't really see their optimum performance.
Yeah, Lance Stroll has now done a 127.418. That puts him at the top of the moment, and then Pierre Gasly goes quicker again. 127.117. SP3 and SP1 and SP2. So Gasly is finally making progress. It's all coming together a little bit better. Albon now starting to do absolute best in sectors as he comes to the end. Fails, goes left, and then into this long right. With the throttle, finds the clipping point, goes over the timing line. Albon is fastest, 126.392. Alex Albon, 126.392. Then go to the top of the times.
In theory, we should see everybody on the soft compound Pirelli, but I suppose somebody might go out on the mediums, just hoping that it's a little bit more grip. Stay out there the longer they stay out there, so there's a possibility of that. Would you say that, Jamie, or not?
I think it's tricky to make the harder tyre work in the cool temperatures. It's drizzling. I think the softer ones is the safer bet, just to get the lap in.
Now Max Verstappen is onto a flying lap. Chris just coming out of A3. Yes, makes his way onto the Wellington straight ahead. Heading on the road, he's on the there, but it needs to qualify. Nice to not be on the back of the grid, but it's a 10-place grid penalty. So Verstappen goes through, and unsurprisingly, the absolute best first sector for the world champion, 27.749 seconds. But Antonelli not far off through the first sector, 27.769, only 20 thousandths of a second slower in the first sector. Yeah, very impressive rookie he has been this year, Kimi Antonelli, but Max Verstappen then absolute best in the first sector. Oscar Piastri now starts the flying lap as well. Charles Leclerc is on track. Pretty much everybody now of note is on the circuit. Verstappen is coming up to the end of the middle sector. He's plunged through Beckett, where he was so stable all weekend. It's another absolute best then in that middle sector. So 2 purple sectors for Max Verstappen. Coming now down towards Stoke Corner. He goes into the right-hander. Remember, he's looking for something better than a 26.3 to put the Red Bull to the top of the time. Clears the traffic at the end of the goes left. Now into the right-hander of Club Corner. The road is clear ahead of him. So Max Verstappen now comes up to the timing line at 0.41. Max Verstappen 126.041. He goes fastest. As now Lando Norris accelerates up towards the line. Lando breaks the beam, goes second. 126.165. That's just over a tenth shy of the Red Bull.
What was the quickest we've had in free practice so far? In the 124?
Got a 25. Charles Leclerc. Okay, 25.498 was the best. That's from today, the cooler weather. Right.
We're fairly close. How much moisture we get, we should get down to that sort of margin, shouldn't we?
Bob, do you think
Piastri goes fastest.
you think some of these quick cars, top flight cars, are using a use set for the first run?
Possibility. I don't know how many sets they've got left. That's always the problem. They get 8 sets.
Norris, then George Russell, then Lewis Hamilton, and Carlos Sainz, and the Williams have done an absolute best in the first sector. Now we saw that in SP3. but it was the last sector that was the undoing of the Spanish driver. Ollie Behrman will get across the line in a moment in the half and see what he can do. He was 6th, remember, in FP3. Behrman breaks the lead, 8th quickest. Ollie Behrman at 1:26.376. Good effort.
Yeah, very close to the top at the moment. Top 7 within 3 tenths.
Yuki Tsunoda also hustling on through Beckett's at the moment in the second of the Red Bulls. And Carlos Sainz, let's see what he can do when he comes across the line. He will go 11th fastest. So it started off really well, but only 11th in the end. That Williams seems to be much happier in that first sector than the others.
Yes, bizarre to say that big in FP3 is very quick, purple in sector 1 and then drops off throughout the lap, struggles to get up to speed especially.
Right, Yuki Tsunoda is the second of the Red Bulls coming out on Club Corner now. Remember, you've got to be in that top 15 and overnight Tsunoda 14, which brings in Ocon is 50, but then Colapinto, Gasly, Stroll, Bortolan because he's hit the wall. That's a big, big moment there. So Franco Colapinto ain't going to drive away from that, and I fear that a red flag is coming with 8 minutes on the clock. So let's see. He can get going again, and amazingly, he found the strip of tarmac. Can he keep on digging? Yes, he can. That is a mega result to get out of that. Franco Colapinto is back on the racetrack, having got all the way through the gravel. He got as far as the tyre barrier.
And vibration, I think maybe the flat spot tyres.
Franco Colapinto limps across the line. Yeah, you can see that vibration, the back of the car wobbling savagely, isn't it? So the gravel trap is clear, but there's a slow car on the circuit.
Wide in Stowe, and then I think he just gets on the gas too hard too early in this next section, ends up on the exit curve. On the rubber strip, and that's why he loses traction.
The car was a handful all the way out of Stowe, wasn't it? So around it goes, into the barrier, and then amazingly he's able to get himself out of the gravel. He got all the way through it. Very high speed spin.
Then you see he's fully locked up, so I think the tyres are all flat spotted, which is why he's got vibration when he's rejoined.
Okay, so from another angle, the back snaps away, off into the gravel bed goes Gabriel Bortoletto, and he tried to keep going, but I think he may well have stopped within the first sector. There it is from another angle, and yeah, everything is locked up long before he leaves the circuit, and the red flag now does come. Even though he got out of the gravel, the car has ground to a halt, so with 6 3/4 minutes to go, we have a red flag.
Yeah, Colapinto stopped, hasn't he? I think the car, the front wing was damaged in the contact with the wall, but then I think the biggest issue is the vibration he's got.
The deal that saw him replace Jack Doohan after a handful of races. It wasn't just that Red Bull Racing was their driver switches. Jack Doohan was moved aside for Franco Colapinto, who was impressive in terms of speed at the back end of last year. So, frustration for drivers, because any plan you had now goes by the wall, and of course, potentially an awful lot of attention next on the weather app to see what might be coming.
Yeah, quite a stressful session for the drivers and the engineers from the beginning, with the light rain, people trying to get a lap in early, people trying to get through without using new tyres, and obviously this red flag's now thrown another curveball. People like Leclerc down in P9, for example.
Yes, I think we would see just about everybody going out when it resumes. 6 minutes and 50 seconds basically still to run. And I think we'd see everybody.
Alright guys, this next one is for you. I want you to sing every word. Let's go!
yeah, you do wonder people who know they're going to be far down the grid, like Behrman with his penalty, and people that have crashed out, they'll go for different strategy in the race and use more of their new tyres for that. But it's actually raining again now, so it's a very interesting situation.
Drops in the pit lane. Seems like it might be worse than before. Oscar Piastri telling the team it feels like it might be worse than before. Yeah, it's still drizzle rather than proper rain, but it's just not maybe that psychological rain where drivers are slightly wary of what they might find around the next corner. We've got less than 6 minutes to go, Q1. We know that Colapinto ain't going to go much further, but we need to see who will join him at the moment. Bortoleto, Ocon, Hulkenberg and Gasly are those that will miss the cut, and it is Oscar Piastri fastest so far by 39 thousandths of a second.
A grid penalty for this race, having caused the accident at Red Bull Ring last weekend.
Yep. Yeah, so Antonelli also to factor into this, so of course it's worth pushing. The further up the grid you get, the less the penalty. Yes, you drop back, but the higher up, the less, if you like, you drop back, rather than go to the total back of the grid. So Antonelli will keep on pushing to try and get into Q3, of course. Oscar Piastri is about to emerge from club corner, and with 5 minutes on the clock, now pulls the pit to see what he can do on his next push lap. He's got the road to himself as well, with nobody coming out of the pit lane either, so no slow car in the way coming through Village in the moment, because he'll get to the right-hander with the road clear ahead of him.
Absolutely is at the moment. He's got one of the Mercedes, Antonelli, but I think we'll batch him in, although he's backed off. Might have backed off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
backed off out of it, yeah. So maybe just no, too much going on to start.
Yeah, that's it. What's the bridge?
Again, the debate going on from car to pit wall, what Lewis wants is not what the team wants. And you think, well, you know, why isn't this communicated beforehand? Why isn't there a strategy? Before you just had an improvement, though, from the... up to 9th as well, so no to pits. Verstappen has pitted. So on the bubble at the moment, Lawson 14th, and Bortoleto is 15th. Carlos Sainz out of the top 15, but as I say, he's done an absolute best sector 1, he's done a personal best sector 2, so Carlos Sainz now coming down towards the corner. Is this going to be a lap that gets the driver that won the British Grand Prix for Ferrari?
No wobble this time. Well, I think it's the whole weekend. Blasted through there for the world champion on the other side of the circuit. The two Ferraris there pull the pit. Leclerc first, followed by Hamilton, who's just making his way into A3.
All right, Verstappen was down in sector 1, but it's a personal best in sector 2. We've got Lewis Hamilton on the big screen there as he goes down towards Brooklands. Charles Leclerc, however, is turning it on because he's done a personal best, and Hamilton's an absolute best in the first sector. Lewis Hamilton, absolute best, sector 1, through Luffield, goes to Ferrari. We'll get Verstappen over the line first. He has done an absolute best last sector, but stays second on a 125.
I think his style.
Absolute best sector 1, so Verstappen looks good, does look good, but it might not be good enough compared to the McLaren. Then on to Hanger straight cut. And now he's the first one to get to the sectors on this first line back for everybody, so he will go purple. He will do the target time, but it's whether it will stand in terms of other people going faster. There's a slow Alpine, the Pierre Gasly, that gets out of the way dutifully, coming to the end of Vale. So Max Verstappen is about to offer up the target time on the Behrman has done a 125.899.
It's too much exit curve.
And as he crosses the line, Verstappen does a 125.267 and instantly backs out of it for the next lap. Here comes the McLaren of Oscar Piastri. You've also got Lando Norris on track. Lando Norris looking close, slots it. Pierre Gasly creeps out of the garage and parks at the back of the line. 3.5 minutes now of qualifying for the Formula One Qatar Airways British Grand Prix here at Silverstone, and it is still anybody's top position.
Yeah, this is one of the best things about being a racing driver, that laps burning quality. You know what the car feels like, you know what the track's like, you've got new tyres, low fuel, and you just got to get everything you can out of it every last millisecond, and one of the best, most enjoyable things about being a professional racing driver.
Now Max Verstappen is still sitting in the big cars, letting everybody go, trying to make sure that when he goes out there is only him and nobody else around him to worry about. So, nervous teams looking on. Nicholas Hamilton in the Ferrari garage, which will move it up to as the Ferrari creeps there now from pit exit onto the circuit. And 9 times, remember, a British Grand Prix winner and the home of British Motor Racing, Lewis Hamilton heading up now towards Village. on down. Lewis Hamilton coming through 8-3 now, starting to build up to a quick lap.
Yeah, and looking for pole number, wait for it, 105, if he can do it. So it's going to be a tall order. Piastri really did pull an extra special lap out in the first half of the session, lap 124.995, and 6.5 quicker than Hamilton managed. So perfect timing from a championship leader, but you just have it in the air. Now something's going to happen, something's going to change in this next couple of minutes, in this second half, this second run, Q3.
Yeah, absolutely, but either way, it's going to be a really interesting grid, partly because of the nature of who we've got in the top 10, partly because of the penalties to factor in also. And down to the end of the Vale comes Lando Norris then with that sea of yellow behind him. Lando's down comes the noise, out of the front corner comes the car, and now Lando Norris stops the clock then for effectively 1 mile to go in a flying lap of Is this going to be inch perfect? Is he going to be quick enough? Let's find out as he goes to Village.
Good first sector for Antonelli as well. Personal best, 27.6. Russell he's on his first lap as well in the Mercedes. They're already through sector 1. Then we've got Lando Norris coming out through Aintree now onto the Wellington straight, followed by Piastri. So let's see what Lando can do on this final run.
Here he comes. At the end of the first sector, it's a green, not a purple, but it's a personal best, so it's an improvement. Lando goes second, 125.029 then. So George Russell gets himself in the mix. Hamilton with an absolute best sector 1, Norris with an absolute best sector 2. There's Oscar Piastri, he's looking quick, but he's lost time in the middle sector. Lando Norris, the timing line to get in second. Fast is Lando Norris, 125.010. It is still Piastri at the top of the time. It's McLaren comes through club corner now, and Oscar Piastri with a bit of correction needed. It's been a tough lap, he goes through, and Piastri slower than he was earlier. He's still quickest, but on his earlier lap time. And here comes Lewis Hamilton then, down through to the end of Vale.
He's improved in both sectors, Lewis. Just dropped a wheel off there, braking over club.
Yeah, little mistake. Also, Verstappen, absolute best sector 1. And Leclerc goes fourth. Here comes Lewis Hamilton, and he goes fourth quickest. So it's Piastri, Norris, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc.